Hello and welcome back, guys. So we are continuing with the stat, right? And then we will talk about median. Okay, so basically what is median is that it separates a given set of data into two parts and then helps us identify which is the middle. Okay, so it's basically, what does it do? It separates into two parts. Okay, so it basically helps us separate data into two different parts. Okay, so in case of individual and direct, the formula that we basically use is that md is equals to n plus 1 by 2. In case of individual, your n will be the summation of your number of x, right, number of observations. And then in case of your discrete, it will be the frequency, right? So basically, just to give you an example as well, I could basically show you from here. Okay, so your n is over here, this, right? So this is the summation of frequency, right? Whereas in this case, your n will be 1 2 3 4 5, right? So it will be number of observation. Okay, it will be 5. Okay, I think you can see it now. Okay, so in this data, so whereas in case of continuous, okay, in case of continuous, what we will need to do is that basically your md will be given, which will be basically n divided by 2, right? So why is that? Because md and then q2 will be basically same thing. Okay, and then md will be n by 2, and then from here you will identify the class as well, and then the where md will be L plus n by 2 minus cf divided by f into h. Okay, so basically in this, what we are saying is that L is the lower limit. Okay, lower limit of the class that we have identified, and then after that n by 2 is the value from here, right? And then cf is the preceding value. Okay, so suppose if this is your class, and then you have identified this to be the class, then cf will be this one. Okay, or it will be from this class. Okay, because this one is only frequency, but you will need to identify the cf which is before that. Okay, just preceding one. Okay, always remember that. So in case of frequency, it will be from the same class. Okay, so suppose if this is the class, frequency will be 7, right? So cf is cumulative frequency. Okay, and then h is your difference between the class. Okay, 20 minus 10 will be 10, right? So that's your height of the class. Okay, so this is basically how you do with median. Okay, so it's pretty simple. So whereas talking about mode, so in case of mode, what does we basically, why do we use mode is that to find out what is being most repeated. Okay, so in this case, as you can see, I've given example individual. So suppose there are 1 2 3 4 5 1 4 and 1 5. Okay, so what is mode then? So which is the number that is being repeated the most? Is 1, right, when you compare it. So in case of discrete as well, same thing. I have a few set of data, and then after that, from here we have to compute the mode, right? So what you will do basically is that, so you will see the frequency. Okay, not the class. Okay, so you'll see the frequency which is repeating the highest. So as you can see, 13 is being repeated the most, right? So 30 will be, so not 13 will be your 13 will not be your mode. Okay, the item which is being repeated is 30. Okay, so suppose if this were a number of students, right, and then this might be the repetition of that thing happening. Okay, so always remember that. So in case of continuous, you might have a given series, right, and then it will be hard to find out mode in this, so you will need a formula for this, which is basically this one. Okay, so mode is equals to L plus delta 1 divided by delta 1 plus delta 2 into height. Okay, so what is delta 1 again? Delta 1 is f1 minus f0. Okay, delta 2 is f1 minus f2, not f2 minus f1 or f1 minus, see, this one is f1 minus f0. This is reasonable, but not f2 minus f1. Okay, always remember that. We get pretty much confused in this, so students make a lot of mistakes in this formula while implementing this formula. Okay, so where f0 is basically, so see, in this case the highest number of thingy is, this will be your f1. Okay, so f1 is the greatest frequency, 13. Okay, and then f0 will be this one, the number preceding it, and then f2 will be your this one, the number after the number which will come after the highest number. Okay, always remember that. So always remember this formula as well. People get confused over here when they are trying to figure out delta. So delta 1 is pretty, you can, if you know, if you have rough idea, you will basically solve it. But when they are writing delta 2 formula, they basically write f2 minus f1. Okay, so that's where they basically mess up. Okay, and then they will lose a lot of marks. So yeah, this is pretty much it when we are talking about mean, median and mode, right? So as I have shown, the mode is for frequency, median is for segregating the data into two equal parts and identifying which is the middle part of a given data, and then basically when we are talking about mean is basically also finding out the mean, right, the average number, which is basically sum of numerical values of each observation, and then you divide it by total number of your observation. Okay, so mean, median, mode is, that's pretty much it. So I will start doing some problems, and then that will make your concept a bit more clear. Okay, so I basically just explained you until now. So when we go into problems, you'll get more idea of it. Okay, so let's see the problems now. If you have any confusions regarding until now that I have explained, please do comment down below. I'll be happy to answer it for you. Until next time, bye bye.